Hello, hello. Give me one moment. Come on, you gotta start. Come on, come on. Come on, YouTube. That's so interesting to me to see how long it takes for, like, YouTube to really make me live. Come on, YouTube. What is taking you so long? I'm live. Tell them. There we go. Okay. Wow. Just so you know, it does not make you go live as soon as you go live. There's a delay. There's a significant delay. Or maybe it's just my laptop. And I can accept that. It might just be my laptop. How is everyone? Oh my gosh, manifesting Maven. Right off the bat, she's not playing. Let's see. Kim, contact has been nonstop. Pursuing as well. Got kicked in the teeth with my 3D. Lots of weird old conditions showing up that had been gone for a while. It's holding on to my awareness and a lot of help. Please, wait a minute. I was getting all excited. All right, let's back her up. Okay. Contact has been non-stopped. Pursing as well. All right, what do you mean by pursing? What's the definition of pursing? Did you mean to use the word pursing? Can you spell it out to me what you mean by that? You got kicked in the teeth in the 3D. He's pursuing you. Okay. Yes. Okay. Got kicked in the teeth with the 3D. Lots of weird old conditions showing up that had been gone for a while. It's holding on to my awareness a lot. Help, please. Okay, now I get it. All right. So, first and foremost, I literally just had this conversation in a call today with a wonderful person. But let's break this down, manifesting Maven. Okay. So yes, whatever is concerning you in the 3D. Yes, these old conditions, the beliefs that are bubbling up per se. Okay. But you can still make your decision to be who you want to be. Now just hold on a minute, okay? So, I do think that this is something that all of us in this community has had as perspective. And I think it's wrong. I think we've been perceiving how this works wrong. And maybe this is not going to sound like a brand new discovery. I'm not claiming that, but I think that our perspective gets skewed outside of the obvious of, we are always perceiving the 3D around us from what state we are currently inhabiting, all right? But like what you're experiencing, old beliefs, okay? Old beliefs that had been gone are showing up to it. And if it's in your awareness and you're responding to it, I am in agreement with you that yes, that means you're in a state where that belief is alive. But I think where we get it skewed, and even though really this isn't a new message, but I think that we don't really take the step back and really make it clear that it's just your state, my friend. So it's not to say that you never conquered whatever those beliefs are that you're referring to. When you decide to be new self, the self that doesn't have whatever beliefs, conditions, assumptions that you're talking about, when you make the decision to be her, that is instant. We already know that. That's old news. But when you go there, you go to that reality, that version of self. When I say it's instant, that means you don't have that belief anymore. We shift through states. We shift through states all day long, all the time. So you shifted into a state where that belief is alive. And that is because that state belongs to that reality where you're having that experience based off those beliefs. So I hope that this is making sense. Okay? So it's just your current state. Don't get sucked into logical, literal thinking. Don't get sucked in. Because I know that there's probably some fear around that thinking of, what the hell? I thought I conquered that. I thought I already blew that condition out of the water. How in the Sam hell am I having this experience? How did this manifest if I've already gotten rid of that belief? You did get rid of it when you went to that version of yourself. So go back. Go back to that version of self that can perceive reality as, this is nothing. Whatever you feel has kicked your teeth in. This is nothing. This is nothing. This will melt away. Doesn't have to make sense to me right now in this minute. It does not have to make sense why it's here. Okay? For a moment there, we let it bother us for a moment. Okay. Thank you for letting me know what state I'm in. I'm gladly returning to new self. Right? So right there, condition. Right there, belief. Stupid shit in the 3D. Right there. I'm going back to new self. I'm not going to fight the condition or circumstance. I'm not going to fight this. I'm not going to battle it. I don't need to. Because we're not based in fear. We're a new self. New self knows this doesn't have to make sense, but I know somehow, some way it leads to me getting whatever I want. So I'm choosing new self. I'm going to do my best not to stress this. It's really all it is. So it's never that you didn't conquer the belief. It's never that. Because if that were a truth, we would have to live in fear of our 3D all the time, and that would imply that God has flaws or limits. The absolute has no limits. Pure, unadulterated consciousness has no flaws, has no limits, and that's who you are. See what I'm saying? So don't let it stress you. I know that's easy for me to say, right? When you're getting sucked in, you know you're probably thinking literally and logically, and you've entered into a state that we are now gladly leaving. We're not going to overthink it. We're not going to go back into that very limited, boring, old thinking of you've got to battle the belief again. You've got to get rid of the belief again. No, you need to choose new self, the version of yourself that never had that belief. You need to go back there. You need to make that decision, even if you don't believe it, even if you don't feel like it. You're going to make that decision anyway. Yes, manifesting maven. Nope, I'm choosing new self. Thanks, Kim. You are welcome. Okay? Don't be fooled by 3D circumstances. Don't be fooled by them. We do not have to fear our 3D experience. Our only requirement, our only job is deciding who we want to be, being new self, being the self that has whatever it is you are manifesting. That's our only requirement. Everything else will be worked out for us. That is Poop growling because the neighbor's dogs are barking. I'm petting her. We're making sure she don't bark. Oh, Poop. There's no need to bark or get upset. Listen, Poop, don't get entangled with your 3D. Be the example here. Set the tone for the day, Poop. Anyway, does that make sense? I'm hoping. It does. I intend that it makes sense. But can you all agree? Those of you who are at the place of finally understanding what states of consciousness are, do you see it when you take that step back and you perceive your reality? You know you're only ever perceiving from what state you're inhabiting. It does not mean that you have failed to conquer your beliefs, negative beliefs, limited beliefs. It's not an indicator that you have failed at that. It's an indicator of what state you're in. Please return to new self. Thank you very much. Go ahead and collect $200 when you pass go, if necessary. But just return. See what I'm saying? Doesn't that feel a hell of a lot more freeing and less stressful? When you're getting entangled in the 3D, when 3D is bothering you and upsetting you, hi, you're just having a human moment. And if you're really getting upset with the 3D, hi, you're in a state where that belief is at play and resonating with the circumstances. Time to return to new self. Try not to get into that, not habit, but that cycle of chasing feelings. chasing. I'm supposed to feel this way so I can believe I'm in the new state. I'm on fire today. I am just on fire in a good way. Okay, I'm zhuzhed. I'm getting downloads. I love when I feel like this. Listen, I was just talking about this in the coaching call right before this, okay? I do believe that we all unintentionally, the moment that we discover conscious manifestation, I believe that because of who we used to be, because of conditioning, because of the 3D human experience, we judge ourselves, we compare ourselves. And some of us, this was me, some of us have this expectation from people we look up to, right? We can make up anybody. You can talk about, the people that are super popular in the manifestation world, like, who has seminars, all that, like Dr. Joe Dispenza and people of that, we'll say, stature. We probably, I know I did, so I'm assuming some of you do too. We look at them as, oh, wow, they're probably higher in consciousness than me. They're probably at that level. I'm not at that level yet. That's not who I am because I don't feel like how they look like they feel. Today, I'm irritated with 3D. So I must not be good enough at this yet, right? We get into the place of comparing what we think we should feel like, what we think we should appear as, what we think reality should look like. But we get in a habit of we chase feelings. I should feel better. I am a bad manifester if I get irritated with my 3D circumstances. I'm bad. I'm doing something wrong. There must be something wrong with me if I'm getting upset with the 3D. No, throw that shit thinking in the garbage. That is your old conditioning creeping up. And this is my goal, to break through the molds of what spirituality should look like. I don't know what else to call manifestation, conscious manifestation. Is it spirituality? Is it a religion? Is it new age thinking? I don't care. I don't like labels. But I think we all have a preconceived idea of what it should look like, the expectation. And then we compare ourselves to that expectation. And if we don't reach that expectation, can't you see? That's just your old conditioning still sucking you back in, judging yourself so you can stay and remain in a state of not being good enough because you don't measure up. There should be, in my opinion, there should be a blank canvas on a picture of an example of a spiritual person. It should have nothing in the picture because spiritual people, right? I'm gonna, just to make this easier to explain, we are into spirituality. Let's just say that's what manifestation is, okay? You can title it whatever you want. This is just easier for me to explain. There is no one right appearance. There is no one right way to do all of this. This is a journey of self. So why would we ever compare ourselves to others and then judge ourselves on top of it? So look in the mirror and there you go. There's a spiritual person or there's a conscious manifester, whatever you want to title this whole thing. There you are. You're the perfect face for it. You're the perfect example of it because there is no perfect example. Listen, we all get in this place of where we chase. We chase. Oh my God, I'm making scenarios up. So please know this is not me talking about manifesting Maven because this isn't the answer to her thing anymore. Oh my God, I'm getting annoyed with boyfriend. I'm getting annoyed. I'm getting sucked into 3D. Ugh. I shouldn't be reacting. That means I have a bad self-concept. I'm not a good manifester. I need more fixing. I need more healing, right? I must not understand that I have blocks somewhere within this bodice. I'm still bad. I'm still not good enough. Do you see? It's just your state. It's a limiting belief from the state. You're a human having a human experience. You're going to have moments where you're freaking irritated with the 3D. That doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It's just an indicator of what state you're in and who you're believing you are in that moment. And if you're not experiencing joy, like I'm assuming you want to, return to your decision to be new self. There, boom, done. Mic drop. Do you see what I'm saying? We make this harder. But we make this harder because we're usually judging ourselves or comparing ourselves. We don't need to compare ourselves to anyone. This is an individual experience. You know what I'm saying? Okay? Y'all know I'm right about this. I know I'm right about this. Okay. So, yes, passionately, Taylor Marie, yes. Yes. Okay. Let's see. I'm on fire today. Lapita, thank you very much. Hi, Kim. Yesterday's live was gold. It's been on repeat all day. Hope everyone is feeling better today. Love you, Kim. Lapita, first of all, thank you very much. And I am glad that has helped you listening to yesterday's live. And I am assuming that you are feeling better today. And I'm assuming everybody is feeling better today, right? We are judged today. We are judged. Yes? Good. That was very nice of you, Lapita. Very, very nice. Renee Walters, thank you very much. How trust movement is always happening in 3D. Well, I wanted to be sassy. Renee, are you breathing? Are you still taking in oxygen? I'm assuming you're saying yes, or you wouldn't be able to ask me a super chat. Okay, things are still moving. Have to be. If you're here having a 3D experience still, right? You haven't croaked. Things are moving. Things are always moving. Things never stop. Reality never stops. Your manifesting powers never stop. Don't get your human senses entangled with 3D. Our senses, if we're doing our manifestation techniques, including our senses, brilliant, please do. But when we are experiencing the use of our senses within our 3D, our senses are there to move us around. It's how we move about our 3D. It's how we, live and experience within the 3D. Okay? But as like Neville said, okay, whenever we're manifesting, whatever it is, he says to deny your senses. And by deny, okay, I don't think he meant, shut the whole system down and don't experience. No, he's saying don't let them limit you in the 3D. Don't let what you're seeing in the 3D dictate to you who you are. Remember, when we are new to this, and some of us still do it even though we're not new to this, we can sometimes see and hear things in the 3D that don't feel good. We'll use an SP an example. So in the 3D, who this girl used to be, if SP was not showering me with attention and affection, I would equate that, right? So I was using my senses. If I didn't hear him saying and doing things, if I didn't see him right in front of me doing things or read text messages from him, I would use my senses to perceive or interpret my 3D as bit sucks, failure. He's not showing up the way I want. I'm not getting what I want because I wasn't changing self. I was so attached and entangled with 3D. Had I got my head out of my ass and understood states of consciousness in the early days of my journey, I would have put more time on who I was being. But the senses, I was allowing them to dictate to me. I was allowing 3D to dictate to me. I was allowing 3D and my 3D experience that I was perceiving through my senses to tell me who I was. But the movement, even when I was choosing a victim state, the movement was always happening. There was always something going on. And when states finally made sense to me and I put more of my focus, time, and energy on what state I was embodying, that's what brought the most and quickest change within my 3D. Wonderful things began to happen. And in those moments, enjoy what we're perceiving. But it had everything to do with what state I was in. But as far as the movement, it never stopped. Reality never stops. For the example of, you're shifting through states of consciousness all the time. So every time you shift a state is every time your ass moves to a new reality. It happens so brilliantly, so flawlessly that you feel like you're having the same 3D experience, but you're not really. Depending on who you are, it's different all the time. And that's a good thing. Yeah, movement never ever stops. So that's how you can trust it. Movement never stops. Okay? Summer, thank you very much. When you decided you were having the best relationship, did you care if it was with SP or just you wanted it in general? There was several moments where I did not care. I didn't care at all. Hence why I've shared that there were moments where I was, oh my God, am I ruining my life here? Am I ruining everything? Is this, what is wrong with me? Blah, blah, blah. Why can't I get out of this state? No, I didn't care. Becoming fully detached from my 3D was of the utmost importance to me. And truly loving my life and loving waking up in the morning, because I woke up with heaviness more often than not. Loving living and loving my relationship is what I wanted. And I didn't care how the experience happened. I just wanted to love life. So was I thinking 24/7 that I don't want that SP anymore? I don't want SP. No. But I wanted detachment. I wanted to stop feeling so attached to my 3D. That was more important for me. But this is my journey, right? You don't have to compare yourself to me, Summer. So don't judge yourself if there's a part of you who feels, I'm just going to say that maybe you're thinking, oh, I don't want to think about me being with anybody else other than SP. You don't have to. That's not at all what I'm saying. This was about my own journey, okay? So don't get scared and think that because you're not thinking that you're not going to get what you want. Nope. Not that at all. I also have an underlying knowing or trust that if I choose to be a version of myself, I'm going to be given my desires. So remember, I was fluctuating a lot more in victim states, frantic, panicked states. Okay? So anybody out there manifesting an SP, that listen, just because maybe you're thinking, I don't want anybody but SP, like the, what's that saying? The this or something better. No, that's not necessarily my deliberate thought at that time. My deliberate thought was detachment from 3D. So yeah, I had moments where I'm like, I don't even care. I don't even care if I have him anymore. I don't. But I will have joy. I will have detachment. And I will have the most amazing relationship of my life. But yeah, I could say goodbye if necessary. Yes, I was there. But that's not an expectation. That is not something you have to be mentally at in order to have. Don't misconstrue that. Okay? I really, really mean that. I don't want anybody to hear that and think, oh, you've got to be in the place of being okay if you don't get SP. Nope. That's definitely not my message, because I do not stand behind that limited belief. It is a limited belief. Okay? It's just where I was at that time. Okay? Does that help? That's right, Raven. Well, thank you, Karina. I hope it's helpful. Joe, TM, right? I remember. It's Joe, I think. Hi, Kim. I've been trying to keep my state these days. It's not perfect, but not bad at all. I really want my girlfriend to change some habits. I need a judge. Okay. So, trying to keep your state. I hope you're not trying from the place of, I feel like I have to be perfect. I have to be perfect. I've got to stay in this state or I'm not going to get what I want. I hope that's not where you're at or what you mean when you wrote that to me, because please don't do that. Don't do that. Right? That's wanting to be in a state from a place of fear. You don't have to be in fear. You don't have to be perfect. So you acknowledging it's not perfect, that's okay. You don't have to be. You'll still get what you want. So as far as whatever is going on with your girlfriend and the habits you want changed, well, what do you believe about your girlfriend? Who are you believing she is? How do you describe her? When she's in your mind, is she the old self with all the shitty habits? Or are you allowing her to change? And by allowing, I mean you're choosing to be the version of yourself that no longer has whatever beliefs at the time that manifested that version of her, that you don't have those beliefs anymore. And she is new self, her new self. And if you haven't done that, it would be a good idea for you to take a look at what version of her you would like to encounter. You know, she's showing up doing what? Or she's showing up with, without the habits. What does that look like for you? Obviously, you being the top priority. So, how do you think of her? How do you describe her? Who is she? Now, I know there are moments when 3D can make us feel like nothing's changing. They're still the same. Same old shit, different day. No. If we're perceiving it that way and believing it, that's telling on us. That's telling us, okay, we're in a state where we're still believing girlfriend is still this version of self, or else we wouldn't resonate with it. And by resonate, we wouldn't be upset with it. And that, I don't mean now you're a bad manifester because you got upset by it. No, that's not what I mean. I'm saying observe. Observe that. Whenever we're triggered and upset with anything in the 3D, and we're reacting to it, even if it's internally reacting, we're resonating with that. Law of attraction would say you're vibrating at that frequency. Law of assumption would say you have a belief that you're saying, yes, I believe you. I choose you belief. I do. I still believe in you. That's why this is bugging me. So return to self, the version of self that doesn't have whatever that belief is. Okay? Just saying. Kim, I have one question. If I let the thought pass, it won't manifest in my reality instantly. No, you never have to fear your thoughts. And letting a thought pass by and not marinating in it. So letting it pass by means just that. It came in, it came out. Not it came in and you're sitting in it and you're thinking about it more and you're thinking about it more, blah, blah, blah. That's marinating. But not battling it from a place of fear. Just letting it flow by. Next thought. Next thought here. Yeah, no. No. You never have to fear your thoughts. Ever, ever, ever. Okay? Leo, member for 2 months. Thank you very much. Do you have any advice on how to act in the 3D with SP? I am seeing him again in a few days while solo vacation. We are going to a concert together. Also, I've stopped doing a bunch of techniques and just started telling myself that I am new self. I love that. I love that you are choosing new self. So, as far as how to act in the 3D with SP, act like your authentic self, whoever that is, whatever version of yourself that is. Whenever you're interacting from authenticity, you're not going to fail. You can't fail. If you find yourself getting triggered by anything while you're with your SP, don't be hard on yourself if you blurb something out in the 3D. If you're able to catch yourself before you do it, then ask yourself, all right, why am I feeling this way? What am I believing in right now that I'm getting upset with whatever is happening in the 3D in front of me? Is it SP is showing up like his poo-poo self, right? The yucky version? Okay, nothing to panic over. Nothing to panic over. If I'm getting bothered by it, I know I'm being the version of myself where that whatever belief is still here. We're going to call it the not good enough just for the sake of conversation. Not that I know it's not good enough with you. So, all right, I'm getting triggered. I'm feeling like, maybe he doesn't want the relationship back. Okay. I know that a version of myself had that belief, and that could be why he's reflecting that in this moment. But I don't have to get upset. I don't have to worry about it. That doesn't mean manifestation failure. I can be my authentic self and have a good time at the concert and happily know that if I keep returning to the version of myself that has the full relationship with SP, that this is not how he's going to stay. So there's no reason for me to say or do anything in the 3D. See what I'm saying? Now that's if you catch yourself before you do anything. Never feel like you have to walk around with tape over your mouth because you're interacting with your specific person, right? That's a limited, fear-based type of thinking, okay? So be yourself. Have a good time. Happily know that as you're choosing your new self, SP is going to reflect that too. And if you don't see that reflection on the day of the concert, that doesn't mean something's wrong. And if you start feeling bad, because maybe they're not being too flirty, ask yourself who you're being. What are you believing in more, 3D or your imagination? Right? Our logical selves will answer 3D because you're living in the 3D. I know that. But you're also breaking the habit of the conditioning of believing 3D or life is just what it is. It just happens. Now you're breaking free from that. So there is no restrictions on you while interacting with SP. Okay? Because of this community, I used to be a mute in the 3D around SP out of fear. Fear if I said exactly what I was thinking, especially if I was upset, that would ruin my manifestation. The fear of him leaving me because I said something wrong. Or I said something or did, reacted from my, at the time, victim or desperate needy victim state. Now don't get me wrong. A victim state probably isn't going to get us the greatest reflection with SP, but it wouldn't have ruined my manifestation. It wouldn't have ruined it. So don't walk around thinking you've got to be a mute. Okay? I think, and I'm going to go on a little rant here. Guys, being awake to conscious manifestation doesn't mean you are now a doormat. It doesn't mean you walk around never standing up for yourself if you feel called to stand up for yourself. Now, from a conscious manifestor's point of view, yeah, you're going to want to ask yourself why you think you're having this experience and why you think you're responding this way. You're going to want to ask yourself that because it will be a limited belief that's at play in that moment. But at the same time, you're still having a human experience and you're going to continue to have a human experience until you croak. So you are going to interact with the 3D, and you don't have to be a mute or take shit because you're aware that it's a reflection of one of your old limiting beliefs. That's not sustainable. It's not, and it's not living. It's not thriving. And you never know, because we don't know the how, that sometimes standing up for yourself or saying, hey, I really don't appreciate that, thank you very much, might just be a part of your bridge of incidents to get your ass into the new self. Because we don't know how things unfold. And remember, because our logical minds love to go to the place, yeah, but if it's the unfolding, right, and it's God universe, it's not going to be a shitty circumstance that happens. Well, who said that? Who told us that? Because everything is neutral to universe God. There is no good or bad to universe God, higher power, source energy, moonbeams. We humans put labels on things. So you never know what might be a part of your bridge of incidents. Being a mute, afraid to be your authentic self is not a requirement. So be yourself. Be your authentic self. To keep you in a good place and probably feeling good, yeah, keep reminding yourself of who you are. You are new self, right? You're in the loving, fulfilling, committed relationship with your person. Even if 3D doesn't look that way, it will. Keep returning to it. But don't feel like you've got to zip your lip until then. Okay? We are meant to experience 3D. Just saying. Okay? Troubled soul, thank you very much. Kim, SP has gone no contact and third party has entered. I have reacted numerous times to her behavior pretty bad. How do I handle this? I feel like it's hard to get out of my current thinking and feel hopeless. Okay, it's not hopeless. There are no circumstances that are hopeless. None. Okay? So you have reacted numerous times to her behavior. When you say pretty bad, do you mean you've reacted pretty bad or her behavior was pretty bad? Or is it a combination of both? However you reacted, if you're labeling it yourself, okay? If you're labeling yourself, we need to let that go. You need to forgive yourself or revise it, okay? There is no point in focusing on how many times you reacted in the past. At the same time, you want to take an inventory of who you are if just deciding to be new self doesn't feel good. Meaning, what do you believe about your specific person for real? What do you really believe about her? What do you really believe about yourself in love? And you're going to want to attach some detachment to 3D. Apply it. Because I know third parties, they don't feel good. They are shitty circumstances. They feel yucky. I know they do. But third parties don't pop up for no reason. Third parties enter because of a belief, because of a limited belief. And I don't mean that from the place of beating yourself up. I don't mean that at all. I mean, let's take a look. What are you believing that a third party showed up? Do you know that you are worthy and deserving of a loving, fulfilling, committed relationship? Do you know that? Do you know your worth? Do you really know or identify as the self that is, lucky in love or whatever words feel good to you? Do you know that about yourself? Have you chosen that for yourself? To be the version of yourself that is chosen, is wanted, is pursued, is loved. That you're the version of yourself that can accept love instead of fearing it coming in. And what are we believing about her? That is so important. Okay? Self-concept includes what you believe about your specific person. That is a part of self-concept, okay? In one version of yourself, in one state, your self-concept could be that you believe she is her best version, that she showers you with love, attention, and affection. That's her normal self. That's what you believe. So think about it. How you think or believe she is who you're identifying as. I'm identifying as the version of myself that is having the experience of a loving, fulfilling, committed relationship with SP's name. And that version of SP is the most loving, attentive, again, whatever words feel good to you, version of themselves. That's who I believe I am. The version of self that is having that relationship with that version of self. It is a part of your identity. Okay? So you really want to own up or be authentic. Not that I think you're not owning up, but be authentic to yourself. I will tell you, in my early days, there were some things that I believed about love and SP that I was afraid to even allow myself to think about for more than 2 or 3 seconds. I'm not exaggerating. I didn't even like the thought entering my mind because I feared it so badly. So I didn't care about owning it and being authentic about it. I just kept pushing it away, push it away, push it away. And don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. You can just choose to be the version of yourself that doesn't have whatever belief anymore. You can. But when we're doing it out of fear, we're not being authentic. And you're not going to hide anything within consciousness from God, universe, the absolute, the universal mind, the universal consciousness. So own it and choose differently. Yes, don't, if you can, put any unnecessary thinking into third party. Who the third party is doesn't mean shit. It doesn't matter. Details about third party, it doesn't matter. So try not to give third party any more of your awareness or focus because they are really so insignificant. They just feel like they're significant. They're not. It's just a reflection of one of your beliefs. That's all it is. They'll fade right on out. Okay? Eric S. Williams, thank you very much. Kim, you are always amazing and incredible, but yesterday's live was perfect. There is so much I wanted to timestamp, but realized I would have just stamped the entire live. I just love you, Eric. I just love you. That was so sweet. You buying a super chat just to say that. That was so sweet. Thank you so much. And I am thoroughly pleased and excited that I've been hearing that a lot about that live stream. You were like, first of all, you're like the second or third person to show up to today's live stream and make that comment. On top of, I received a couple of emails regarding it too. I'm like, my God, I didn't think it was that amazing, but okay. All right. I take it. Thank you. Lily M, thank you very much. SP came back wanting a relationship but disappeared. After 3 days, I blocked him. I'm so hurt. I worked on this for a year. Maybe something better? Okay, well, first of all, you choosing something better is a personal choice. It's certainly not a requirement because there's no one has an SP that they have to give up on unless they want to, right? You really can manifest whatever and whoever you choose. Okay. So, all right, SB came back wanting a relationship, but disappeared. Now, after they disappeared, after 3 days, I blocked him. All right. So I'm assuming they came back in, they wanted the relationship, and then they went quiet, and then you went back into thinking, oh my God, here they are ghosting me. They're not showing up. They're better than this shit. I'm just going to block them, so I got to deal with it, right? So listen, I am not implying that you have to be okay with their poor behavior, like ghosting or not staying in contact in general, whatnot, okay? I'm not saying you got to be okay with that and you got to like it. No. We don't have to like shit. But we have to be aware of who we were being as we were experiencing it. Because that's telling us what state we're inhabiting. That's telling us, okay, I didn't like that. I probably started panicking. I started, I don't know, I'm making shit up at this point. Like, remembering old experiences with him. And maybe your mind even started reminding you of experiences for previous relationships where you weren't treated right. So probably the first 12 hours of not hearing from SP, you were probably already started comparing it to past experiences and already labeling it as, here we go again. This son of a bitch comes in wanting a relationship, and here he is disappearing again, right? That's who I was too. So just owning it. I was that way too. But we've got to let that story go. We have to decide that they want the relationship back and stay. Not playing games. Not coming in to disappear. Their new self. Because you're going to decide whatever beliefs are resonating with the 3D right now, you no longer have. That's not who you are anymore. So let's say, for example, Lily, all right, back when in a relationship, it disappeared. So there could be, again, we would have to chit chat a little bit. Sounds like it could be fear of abandonment or, an expectation to be hurt in relationships, love relationships, perhaps, and not good enough. Right? Remember, not a priority, not chosen is connected to not good enough. So if we know that we've had these beliefs in one of our infinite states and we don't want to be that version of ourselves anymore because we don't want that experience anymore, right? We want the reality where there's no such thing as ghosting. You've never been ghosted and you would never expect someone to ghost you. And so meaning your mind would not automatically go to that place if you don't hear from someone by a certain time. I had time frames in my mind. So please don't judge yourself. If I didn't hear from SP by such and such time, my mind would go, here we go again. So don't judge. This is why we don't blame or shame ourselves. Okay? It's nothing but a shift of state. It's all it is. So let's return to new self, assuming that you are defining who new self is. The version of you in a loving, fulfilling, committed relationship with your person, new self. And the version of you that can let old stories go. The version of you that can believe, that can trust, that can accept that manifestation is always working. You don't have to fear your 3D. And you can expect the best from your specific person. You can expect him to show up and truly love you and be with you just because it's you. That someone can love you just because of that. Just because it's Lily. Right? This version of him sees your worth. Sees the beauty. That's who new self is, or who I would decide new self is. But you can let old stories go. You can decide that he is not this limited asshole version anymore. He's new self too, right? He's shifting through states with you. It's kind of like, what is that old caveman mentality? Except it was the caveman dude dragging the caveman lady around, right? That old cartoon. It's the other way around. It's you dragging him, right? And then depending on whatever you're into, is it, guy to guy, girl to girl, who cares? You're dragging your person through the states with you. Think of it that way. So this is why who you're being, what you believe about yourself matters. And Very importantly, what you believe about specific person matters. So decide who their new version is and decide who you are and keep returning to it when you fall out and applying detachment. Detaching from 3D, right? Detaching does not mean, outside of the fact that it doesn't mean you can't think about what you're manifesting, but detachment doesn't mean denying your feelings either, though. So let's say, Lily, that, this is something fresh. Maybe this just happened last week or the week before. That doesn't mean you have to pretend your feelings aren't hurt right now. That doesn't mean you have to stifle your tears or your emotions and feelings. It doesn't mean that. If you're having an emotional moment, let it out. It's okay. You can still have your emotional moment and know that you're choosing new self too. They sound like they conflict, and logically and literally I can see why, but no. You're above 3D conditions. Choose it anyway. Okay? It'll be okay. Yes, it happened a week ago. I've been crying and trying to affirm whenever possible. Yeah, don't deny yourself. I'm glad that you're letting the tears out. Think of the tears as shedding limiting beliefs. Okay? Think of it, it's cleaning out all the previous hurtful experiences and all the limited beliefs that created them. You're shedding them. So it's okay to get the tears out. But return to new self, meaning decide that you are her now. Even if you don't feel great, even if you're still hurting, just know that it's still working when you make that decision. It doesn't feel like it's working. I know that. It didn't feel like anything was working for me either. And I certainly didn't feel like new self, but I kept choosing it anyway. Right? It's the intention behind the choosing that matters. Okay? It'll be okay. Aaron, thank you very much. Kim, why do I always assume my partners are cheating or choosing someone else than me? I've been trying to decide I am good enough. I am chosen, but the doubts are still there and pummeling me. I feel anxiety when I do decide. Okay. That's your body responding out of habit. And that's really all it is, Aaron. Your body is responding out of habit. So, focusing on, let's say, meditation, breath work, things like that can help with anxiety, but also deciding to be new self who is anxiety free should be a part of that program or decision. Okay? Thoughts are just thoughts. That's all they are. We don't control what thoughts pop into our mind. We control what we do with them. So when thoughts of, the fear that they're cheating or, and choosing someone else in general, right? That could be the belief, I am not chosen, or I am not good enough, or the fear of abandonment, or the fear of this is the I am not good enough. There's always someone better than me. There's always the possibility of them getting somebody better. And that's us comparing ourselves. But continue to choose the version of yourself that knows that she's more than enough. It's okay that if you don't feel like you are her, don't chase the feeling. Choose to be that version of yourself, okay? That's really, really all you need to do. And how to choose new self is all in what techniques you love to do. So if you like to affirm, then affirm that you are that self, more than enough, right? You're the version of self that's never had the shitty experience or had their heart broken or ever been cheated on, blah, 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 throughout your life, right? And if you have had those experiences in your past, I hope you are now in the awareness that you only had those experiences because of limiting beliefs that were never your fault. Right? Our conditioning, our beliefs come from when we are little kiddos, right? It's not our fault. And I don't mean we got to shit all over the people that raised us. That's not what I'm saying. They did their best. They were conditioned too. But that's where they came from. And from there, you manifested experiences. And then we created beliefs off the experiences. And then we just keep carrying the shit with us. Make the decision that you are your new self. You are the limitless version of yourself. And when those thoughts come in, don't panic. Don't automatically assume because the thought's coming in that you have failed to conquer it. It's when you're believing in that thought that you're in a state where the belief's alive. But choosing to be new self is the self that doesn't have the belief. And you can trust that with the repetition of you choosing that self, that will become more comfortable, more natural to be that version of yourself. It's the repetition that helps it. But don't assume that because you're still feeling anxiety that you're not new self or you've never been new self. No, your body's responding out of habit. So I know anxiety doesn't feel good. And that's why I mentioned like meditation, breath work. Those things can help with, releasing the anxiety. But don't tie the anxiety as, well, this must mean I'm not new self because I still feel anxious. No, that's your body responding out of habit. So we can choose to be the anxiety-free version of ourselves. That's new self. But if I still feel anxious, that doesn't mean something's wrong with me. That doesn't mean that I'm doing something wrong on my manifestation journey. See what I'm saying? Just return to your decision. Okay? Oops. Oh, Aaron, you were answering. Oh, wait. Mainly because of past experiences. I see what you were answering what I was just saying anyway. So yeah, again, we get the largest percentage of our beliefs in childhood. And from there, when we begin manifesting from those beliefs, unaware, right, unconsciously, we then create beliefs from the experiences, right? So I'm just making one up here, but let's say you, from childhood, you had a belief that, you're not good enough. So from there, once you started dancing in the love department, when that belief started, showing its ugly head, you maybe manifested, being broken up with or being cheated on. And not only did that solidify and really validate the belief of you're not good enough, but it then, I'm making this up, I'm not saying you have this belief, but it could create the belief of, love just doesn't work out for you, or, whatever you're into, like guys always cheat, girls always cheat, right? All different beliefs could have been created. And instead of looking at it as like overwhelming yourself, trying to tackle all these terrible beliefs, it's choosing the limitless version of yourself. And when thoughts come in, it's knowing I don't have to be afraid of the thoughts. I don't have to like them. I don't have to like the thoughts that come in and say my SP is going to cheat. But I can, especially if I feel the anxiety coming up, no, that's my body responding out of habit. Nothing for me to fear. Let it float on by. Because I know who I'm choosing to be. I know I'm choosing to be new self. And my new self doesn't have those limited beliefs anymore. So I don't have anything to worry about. Period. See what I mean? Nothing from fear. Fear just keeps us trapped. Okay? Ali, thank you very much. Hi, I'm gay man who's chubbish. And I love muscular men. But I am aware of muscular men not wanting men like me because of Grindr. How to get those men? You start by never calling yourself chubbish again, unless the word chub, chubby, chubbish feels good to you. Outside of that, you need to drop that immediately. Like now, immediately. You should not be describing your way with words that don't feel good to you ever again. And if you are, it is time for you to stop. You need to start choosing new self, right? I don't care if you weigh 10,000 pounds. You don't call yourself names like that unless it feels good. I'm assuming by your question, that word doesn't really feel good to you. Because automatically, the belief is given away by saying muscular men don't like chubbish men. And that is certainly not true, my friend. Okay? Love does not come in one package. Love transcends all. And yes, we are all one consciousness, but we are all one consciousness individualizing in the different people on this planet, right? You're the same consciousness that I am, but I'm experiencing it through this vessel, Kimberly. And from there, this vessel, Kimberly, gets to choose which version of Kimberly she shows up as. Just like you're choosing which version of Ollie is showing up. So I'm going to just make a guess, right? We've never had a one-on-one, so I don't know all the beliefs. But Ollie, judging by your question, not only does that break my heart, I just have to say that breaks my heart. I spent most of my existence on this planet, at least 40 years of it, beating myself up for being fat, yo-yo dieting, and all the things that go along with that. And using that as the reason why love never worked for me, on top of shit with numerology. But, no man, because I'm into men, no man, no good-looking man, or the men that I find attractive want a fat chick like me. That's how I would talk to myself. That's how I would describe myself. That was the belief I was beating myself up with. When I worked at letting that go, that limited belief, and for me, the sideline of wanting to break free of yo-yo dieting, that's when life started really changing for me for the better. So your number one priority is to start seeing yourself as a badass, a handsome, or whatever words that you like to use to describe being amazing and being hot. Use those words as that's who you are. And they might feel uncomfortable at first. You might not believe a word of it, but with repetition, you will. And you will find, you're going to see, because you'll start having experiences where, again, I'm using your descriptives, okay? That these muscular men that you're into are suddenly going to be into you too. Okay? They will be. As soon as you drop that belief. Please do this. Ollie, please do this. Don't waste your years on this planet like I did. Okay? Please don't. 40-something years is a long-ass time to think you're a bag of shit. I don't want you to waste another minute. Seriously. Okay? And as far as fucking Grindr, that name in itself says what's going on Grindr. Okay? Grindr. Just saying. All right? My mind always goes to the gutter. But all the people on Grindr that are validating what you just said to me, it was just your own negative or limited belief being reflected back to you. That's all it is. Let me give you another example. When I first started going on the dating apps, I was, prior to that, the person who was against dating apps. That's just for people who want to bang. That's not what I want. There's only losers on dating apps. That was who I used to be, okay, in my early days. And then I just had a change of heart, but I was very, very new. I was still in the law of attraction, my change of heart. I now know it's probably my state shifted, right? But I didn't understand states back then. So I had a change of heart. I'm like, nah, I think I'm gonna meet my person on these apps. I don't know why. Like, I just woke up with that change of heart. Again, I woke up. My state had shifted, but I was nowhere near that yet. So I just had that knowing that I was going to meet my person. And not only did that actually happen, we matched on more than one of the apps. And one of the apps was one I always thought of as the bag of shit app. And that's Tinder. That's Tinder. But like I said, we matched on more than one. So we're always ever experiencing our beliefs, good and bad beliefs. And remember, you and I are giving the title good or bad too. So, Ollie, we are no longer using that word chubbish unless you enjoy that word. Okay? We don't have to debate whether chubbish is a good or bad word. Just like I think the debate over the word obsession is fucking useless. But I'm assuming you don't like it, and it doesn't feel good to say that to yourself. So stop it today, this moment, this second, immediately. Never again. And if your mind starts bringing it up, let it float on by. We don't talk like that anymore. Okay? That's not how you see yourself anymore. Okay? See yourself as being attractive, hot, by any man. Any man. Or be specific. The men you're into. All the men that you're into want you too, and they want you for the same reason that you want them, whether that's relationship or a good time, whatever you're looking for, okay? But it's not a universal life fact that muscular men don't want chubbish men. That's not a real thing. That's just a reflection of a belief, okay? I know what society says. Society can be shitty, but it's because it's 3D conditioning, and it's 3D conditioning reflecting what we believe. So it might feel like everyone out here has that opinion that muscular men don't want chubbish men. It's not. It's a reflection of your fear, your limited belief. Change that, your experience changes. Okay? But also, my advice is when you do see a muscular man that you are attracted to, if your mind starts taking you in the direction, oh, he probably doesn't want me. He probably wouldn't like me. That's a moment to say, that's old self. That's old self. I'm new self. I'm just saying because it sounds like this is going to be like a fresh thing you're doing, a fresh change in self. Be mindful of those moments. Not looking for them, just be mindful. Be observant of where your mind goes. Okay? But Ollie, start doing this today. You're going to see a change. You are. And when you start seeing that change, because you will if you do this, come back and tell us. Okay? Please, come back and share. Ginger Moon, thank you very much. Part 1. Had to set boundary with SP. I was being victim for a bit and own it. Been no contact for 2 days. Giving it the meaning this is the unfolding to the best outcome and feel excited. Part 2. Aware it's all me. And everyone will conform, having a bit of fear with upcoming procedure. He won't be there. Wish he was holding my hand now. Thoughts? Thank you. Okay, yes. You're bracing right now. All right. My beautiful friend, you're bracing for impact right now. I know the procedure's coming up, and I know what your desired outcome of the procedure is. Return to it. Return to that version of yourself. Don't judge yourself. Don't get me wrong. Am I happy to see that you are in the awareness of how this unfolded or may have, the reason why it may have shown up in your 3D? But even though you're owning it authentically, it's one of the things I love about you. It makes my job easy, right? But I hope you're not beating yourself up for it. I hope you are not judging yourself. Like, oh my God, if I had just gotten my mind together, or like I would have said to my old self, if I just got my shit together, I would have had this already, or I would be living this by now. We don't got to do any of that, right? When that kind of thinking comes in and we start beating ourselves up that we wish we had gotten our heads out of our asses years ago, what is that doing? That is binding ourselves to what? Linear, horizontal, time. And you are not bound by that. That is a construct that we choose to, I call it half-ass experience in the 3D, as in I'll wear a watch. I'll book a call and let someone know that we're going to talk at such and such linear time, but you are not bound by it for any other reason. So you might be experiencing a little bit quietness right now. And I know that procedure's coming up, but time in itself, linear, horizontal, time, has no bearing on you two chit-chatting and being fine and him being there. It has no bearing on that. Don't get sucked into that logical thinking. Logical, literal thinking can be such a pain in the ass. I know it can. I know it can. But when you're getting sucked in, what's happening? What are we doing? We're falling asleep. Falling asleep again. We're hopping on, what is Vadim Zeland call it? The destructive pendulum. You're swinging on the pendulum. You're believing in the 3D. You're falling asleep. You're bracing for impact. No. Jump off that shit. Jump off that pendulum. You are pure, unadulterated consciousness. You are bound by nothing. Right? You are not bound by any limits. There's nothing wrong here. We are just waking our asses back up. We're waking up, remembering who we are. There's nothing to panic over in the 3D. I know it does not feel good. I know. But it doesn't feel good because we're believing in it more and we know better. We know who we are. Return to your decision. Return. Everything's going to be okay. And it's okay if you don't believe a word of that as you're telling yourself that you're your new self. It's okay. Keep returning. You already have a plethora of experience under your belt. You already know this works. Okay? You have nothing to fear. Don't let logical thinking suck you back in. Okay? And if it does suck you back in, well, then get your ass back out. Return. Return, return, return. Okay? It's going to be okay. You have nothing to stress. You don't. I know that's easy for me to say. You're the one living it, but it'll be easy. Thank you, Limitless Queen. I appreciate that. Aura, it's because I am. I am fun to be friends with. No, just teasing. Well, no, I'm not teasing. I am fun. But thank you for that. That was very nice. Let's see. Whoops, where'd it go? Oh, okay. Sazzle, thank you very much. Any advice on age and wanting children and SP? Yeah, pretty much everything I just said to Ginger Moon would apply to you. Don't get wrapped up in linear time. Horizontal thinking. You're not manifesting in a straight line. You're manifesting going up and down. You're manifesting this way, vertical. You're jumping to timelines. You're not walking a straight line to your new desired reality or version of self that has the manifestation. Don't limit yourself. You are not bound by linear time. We respect linear time as far as setting appointments or what time to set your alarm as you're experiencing and maneuvering around 3D, but for manifestation purposes, we are not bound by that construct. So let's say, for example, as you said, having children. Maybe 3D reality says, hey, from this point on, you shouldn't even entertain that. Because, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a really shitty word, but like, that's where limitations to getting pregnant start happening at this number. I'm not going to say a number, but use your imagination. And maybe you're either close to that number or maybe you're already over whatever that number may be. First of all, you're manifesting your body every day. And there are women having babies at all varying ages, right? You're alive in the most amazing, was it century or decade? Maybe decade. Because if I say century, too far back, it would have felt more limiting. We'll say decade. You're alive at the best time in life to have babies at all different ages. So there's nothing to fear. When you're fearing, you're thinking literally, logically, which always implies limits. If your desire is to have a baby, then choose to be that self. Choose to be that version of yourself. There are women defying 3D odds, 3D conditions every single day. In the 3D, I'm saying. It happens every day. Right? If you've got that desire in your heart, see yourself as being a parent, a mother, or father, whatever. See yourself as having. Don't stress the details. I know that's easy. I mean, easier said than done. Don't stress the details. You're just getting sucked into logic. We don't let anything out here limit us. Certainly not age. Certainly not age. Even Neville said himself, this is not a direct quote, but this is almost part of his full sentence, that the only reason why we age is because we are conditioned to believe that's what is supposed to happen. If we could break out of that limited belief, that conditioning, we probably either would age incredibly slower or not at all, which wouldn't that be amazing? You know what I'm saying? But it is still a belief. It feels like a belief that, oh, you can't change that. You can't. I don't think that it would be easy, because I believe that's like in our DNA type of conditioned belief, but I don't think we're bound by anything. I do believe the I am is the I am, and we are the I am. You know what I'm saying? I believe anything is possible. Anything. So don't worry. Doesn't matter how old you are. Okay? Don't go logical. Go delusional. Delusion is our friend. Logic isn't. Right? And think about it. There are people defying the odds of age and medical shit all the time. All the time. Seriously. That's where I would look into Dr. Joe Dispenza if I were you, because he's got a lot of good success stories of people defying limits medically. Okay? Well, okay. On that note, I have to go. So this has been lovely as per usual. I do love these, afternoon, sometimes earlier live streams. I'm going to continue to do them as often as I can. Yeah. So thank you so much for all of you being here with me. I do appreciate you all. And I'll see you probably tomorrow. Okay? Be good. Don't let the 3D kick you around. Okay? The 3D is waiting on your instructions. You don't let 3D tell you who you are. You tell it. And it will change. Okay? It will. Literally, it will. All right. On that note, I love you all. I'll see you all tomorrow.